Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News. And boy, I'm real low. Why, William, how come I'm so low in my chair? I don't know what it is. I have to get another cushion, I guess. I keep getting shorter. I don't know what the deal is. But welcome to the World War III Report News with me and William. Um, and tonight, I think you guys are in for a treat. And um, I was just talking to William, and I was telling him that. Um, Well, I just might take the banner out and it might be okay. Yeah, see there? There you go. Well, it's not justice for all. Huh.
Yeah, I guess so. I think.
Huh. I might have to go back to the World War III. There we go. Um, Me and William were talking before the show, and in North Korea, I'm going to bring up North Korea first because um, South Korea was letting this our U.S. subs into port. And I believe Kim Jong Un's sister is the one that's in charge, folks. It's my opinion. I don't know if William agrees with me on this, but uh, I'm hearing rumors that Kim Jong Un's daughter, now she's getting older, and when they start prepping them to become a leader, they start showing them a certain military um, tactics and strategies. And I think that's what his sister is doing. Um, and I think, when he got sick, William, I think she stepped in. And I don't think she's going to give the reins back.
Well, you've got mom and
Look at
Kim
me.
Jong Un and daughter and the aunt, and it's obvious Kim Jong Un's not going to be, a long leader. So
There we go.
the ladies are going to try to divide things up.
Yeah. So I snuck over and got me another pillow. I have to pad my chair because I'm too short. William, I don't know what I'm going to do with this chair. A brand new chair, and it's not tall enough. I need one that raises me up like a midget. I'm a midget,
You're going to have
though.
to get an order desk.
Well, I have to readjust my camera, is all. And I just haven't done it. So Kim Jong Un, um, now, when he did this, and then we look at that Russia, William, hit two, maybe three. They were shooting our jets over in Syria. And and this wasn't just last week. And now we got new stuff. And um, I think Putin is waiting to see a response. The same with Kim Jong Un or North Korea. Now they made a strike. Putin made a strike in Syria, and a lot of the news doesn't tell any of their viewers about this because we really should know that Russia is actually shooting jets in Syria. I don't know
Well,
what you've dug up on
trying
it.
to shoot at jets, but jets could be pretty fast and they turn quite quickly, and we've got pretty good sensors. So it's just whether or not we decide we're irritated enough.
Are we?
What usually precipitates an action is when one jet hunts another jet. I mean, they actually start hunting each other, and our jets try to avoid them. They continue to pursue ours, and then they try to avoid them. Then they try to pursue ours, and then we shoot them down.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm just thinking on the worldwide perspective of the viewers that we have the war in Ukraine that's falling apart. And, if Zelensky joins NATO, it's NATO and the United States. And so that makes it a World War WW3 issue. And then we got them, Putin, not only has he shot jets in Syria, but now we're finding out he may have, and you said firecrackers, I believe, for.
No, no, they I did some research. They bombed the shit out of Odessa for 3 nights. Yeah.
But are we
It was
for
bad.
sure that this is Russia, or is this mercenaries, or is this Ukraine? Do we know?
Well, with Odessa, we're pretty sure it's Russia because the bridge into Crimea was hit, a few days ago. So that would be the tit for tat type thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, tit for tat. Um, so now this grain is used worldwide, and they're saying that our prices of our grain will go up. And the stuff that we have with grain in it is big time. And not only that, but then we have inflation happening, and um, the Fed's saying that the price index will go up, which means everything, all the prices in our grocery store are going to go up. But with this grain, we're now looking at maybe a shortage.
So you have to remember 2 things at the same time. As grain is slowed down, because the grain's been grown, right? As the grain is slowed down in its shipping, the prices will go up. But part of that isn't the price of grain. Part of that is people taking advantage of the news and profiteering. So we've got 2 things happening at the same time. We've got the investment class profiteering. At the same time, we have a grain. You don't have to call it really a shortage. Call it a redistribution, because that grain is going to get out eventually.
Right.
So it just means that stocks are going to be depleted in one area, and then backfilled from the other area that's at this point a restriction. So it's this oscillation takes months, but it's going to occur. So the fact that the grain still exists, it's just at what rate it's going to be shipped and from where.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And or who's going to get it? Who's actually going to get it?
Well, we'll have to step our shipping up temporarily, and our prices for our farmers will go up, because our farmers have learned you don't give all the grain to the mills immediately. You hold it back, because you never know if prices are going to go up and down. That's why they build all of the grain bins on their farms. So prices are going to go up for grain, but whether or not prices go up at the grocery stores, that's yet to be seen. There's been quite a bit of profiteering on foodstuffs for the last little bit, and they might have the capacity to absorb some of this temporary shock.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to have to see, but there's going to be some profiteering, no doubt, especially over in Europe and Asia, because they're close. They're used to having those shipments from that area and not from as far away as the United States. Anyway, that's my thought on it.
Now, so we're looking at.
Oh, the other part is Russia has threatened ships moving in and out of Odessa as enemy combatants. Now the truth is,
yeah, because William, it's not really an act of war. That's what gets me is it's not really an act of war. Everybody is so short of an act of war right now.
Well, it's not an act of war because these aren't warships, right? Mm-hmm. They're just grain transports. Mm-hmm. So what'll happen is NATO or Turkey or the United States are going to step in and say, no, they have freedom of access. They're not violating anybody's national space. They're not. Right. They're not invading Russia's maritime zone. So Russia's going to have to step back. This is a matter of rhetoric for right now. There'll be some tensions brew, but I think what'll happen is they'll step back. It's not going to be worth getting involved in it, really. They're still just, they're pretty sore on the Cossack Bridge. I guess that's what they called it. Anyway, the Kursk Bridge getting blown up. So they're going to be a little bit feisty for a bit. But really what we're seeing right now is instability around the world
from Taiwan to William, I've never seen the globe so close to World War II. We had Germany and we had China, and it's almost like a repeat performance of because
Germany,
now
Japan,
it's China, but it's Russia now. We had Japan last time, and they thought that they're almost like it's repeating itself, because now I sent William a video, and me and him are going to have to do a show on this, because it really shows that we're trying to, or our government is trying to create a chaos and repeat what they know has worked for the world wars. And one of it is World War II, that we had Germany going on, but we also had Japan. And they thought it would bring down the United States because it would weaken the United States. And now we're seeing this
we don't
over
have Germany
again.
This time, and we don't really have the European Union. What we have is Mr. Klaus Schwab, and then we have the Chinese Communist Party. So we're not.
But William, he really does. He is really anti-Israel, and he was part of World War II with Germany, and that's what gets me. It's almost like we're repeating a war between Germany and Indonesia once again, and I think it's only to weaken these countries.
If they can get the
William's going to throw
States
popcorn
to
at
expend
me
themselves,
today.
and China to expend themselves, and Russia to expend themselves, then they win.
Yeah. And I think because of the Joe Biden administration and the things they have, the things they did, and the scientists coming over, I really do. I'm starting to think that we're looking at a repeat performance.
So every war that occurs, right, like you said in the movie you had me watch, is the children put on their grandparents' military boots, right?
Uh-huh.
And they don't have the memory that their parents have, and so these things tend to repeat themselves. That's why I say that every war, no war is ever won. it just comes to a stop.
Yeah.
And usually temporarily, and then over a few generations, it reasserts itself in some way or another. Now, this time around, it's not the German people.
No.
Okay, and it's
but
not
it
really
seems like
the
we're
German
repeating
government.
the same chaos.
It's the German aristocracy.
Right. Now, Klaus Schwab connected to you know who, because if we say his name, they're going to get us.
That evil guy from
when
Hungary
they
that sold
looked
out
at World War II, they looked at it as a good thing to be able to depopulate. And this is what's coming out of the Democrat Party right now: is let's depopulate. Now, how do you depopulate but war?
Well, there are a number of ways. You've got first, you can cause the people not to be able to reproduce. That's one way. So that takes more time. The other is famine. You can always go for the pandemic, right, type thing, and then you've got the real quick and nasty way, which is war itself, because war is a killing machine.
Yeah, and war is never pretty. We've told our viewers that, and so
well, look at what's going on in Ukraine right now.
Mm-hmm.
If Ukraine could get every single weapon from the West, and Russia could get every single weapon from the East, right? And every fighter from the West and every fighter from the East, they would fight until there was no one left.
Right.
So unless outside forces impose some way of bringing this to an end, then this thing will go on forever. These people will keep fighting for the same piece of dirt until it's under a sea of blood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have no respect for anything outside of them.
Yeah.
They only care about the place and its geography and what it means to them. They'll sell out their children. They'll sell out their parents. They'll sell out every bit of respect they have.
Yes.
As long as they can continue to fight.
Yeah.
And that's what war does to people. It's a sickness. Okay. It becomes viral, and that's why they say, for wars, you don't have to really instigate them. All you have to do is let slip the leashes of the dogs of war.
Right. And what gets me, William, though, is they are, it's almost like they supported by now they're pulling back and bringing forth, like you said, Michelle Obama.
Well, they'll do Michelle Obama. So a weak world is to the advantage of the Klaus Schwab crowd,
right,
and the Jinping crowd, right? So Michelle Obama's a good pick, right? If you wanted somebody that would do what you told them to do for fear of not doing what they're told to do, is she somebody that's going to be fearless and stand up to the idiocy? If she's willing to stand up, she'll be ostracized immediately. But if she's accepted, then that automatically pretty much means that Shazam.
And then we got, and no one is really paying attention to Iran and Iran's. It's like everybody went from keeping an eye on Ukraine and watching Taiwan. But then we had, I can't think of his name, Hezbollah, something like the president of,
Hezbollah.
yeah,
Hezbollah.
yeah, he spoke to not only Congress, but he spoke to Senate. And I listened to it, and it was like, blah, 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 kind of things. He
Oh,
didn't,
from Israel.
yeah. And what did
Yeah,
you
I
think
don't
of
think
it?
that
Did
was
you
his
hear his
name.
speech?
So, United States and Israel, with the current political power that's being amassed in Congress right now, Israel and the United States is becoming more and more aware,
Yeah.
because they get lost, right?
Are they? But are they
there's a
aware,
threat
or are they
Iran.
just? Are they allowing our country to fall? I mean, there's a difference between, okay, yeah, we're aware of it, and we're not going to do anything, to we're aware of it and we're making a plan. So go ahead.
So Israel, for them, it's an existential crisis. For the United States, currently, it's not an existential crisis; it's an irritation. But the current administration is falling apart at the seams, and so Israel's not being ostracized as much now. Whether or not the GOP will suddenly grow it back, that's not likely. But there are some fearless individuals in Congress that will force the other people in the GOP, if they want to stay in power, to toe the line. So that's what's going on, is there's a few that make it too uncomfortable for the many to stand down. And so if they can't, so they're going to at least pay lip service.
Yeah.
Before they have to get involved with actions. And so anything they can do to delay it, they will. So what we're seeing now is the lip service part. We're going through the process of political escalation from the right. And we're watching the demise of the liberals. Not because there's not enough liberals out there to maintain their party, but just because the flow of history is against them. That pendulum that swings, widely in that the new 70-year cycle rather than the 40-year cycle, because we have nuclear weapons now, but has made its trip going there the way they wanted it to, and it's turning back on them, and they can't accept it, and so they're going to do everything in their power to resist it. It's futile resistance. But,
and then we got Iran giving North Korea missiles and capabilities.
Yeah, this is just
it's a mess.
This is power dynamics we're watching from every facet of our existence, because one group of political activists have pushed the political pendulum too far, and now it's going the other way.
Yeah.
You can overdo a good thing.
Yeah. And I don't think we can give. I don't think there's anything we could give to Ukraine that's going to change anything at this point. And we're talking military training, military that can train them, to firing upon and grabbing certain areas. I don't think they got the strategic command in mind.
They don't have a complete Air Force.
Right.
And they don't have
Uh-huh.
a demographic advantage over the Russian people, because the Russian people are 2 or 3 to 1 of the Ukrainian people. So this is going to end one way. It's just at what point it ends.
Uh-huh.
Now, the Western Ukrainians may be Polish by the time this ends.
Well, what got me was Zelensky hasn't mentioned that once this is over and Putin takes those certain states, that Poland would move in to take over what was left. And that's what got me. And I was like, where'd they get this from? And it took quite a few days of searching, but the 5 and the 6 and the 7.
So historically, Western Ukraine was Poland.
Right.
All right. In the 16th, 15th, 16th, 17th century. So
right. And what I mean by the 5, 6, and 7 is the states that have been taken.
Yeah, and so Ukrainians are not just fighting the Russians; they're creating a vacuum where they live in the west part of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And as soon as this war's over, and they've got nothing left, what stops anybody else and any other political party from moving in?
Step in. Yeah, that's what I was
popular.
Thinking. And I'm hearing it's Poland, and it's pulling the strings on this. So if we have Poland saying, no, I'm going to be, I'm going to go ahead and take over what's left of Ukraine.
Well, the thing is they may be invited in because Poland has money and Ukraine has nothing.
Right.
Ukraine's over. It's a derelict ship on the ocean at this point.
Yeah. So, okay. Now Iran with Israel. Now it has been really quiet, and I think that's why they thought they would take this time to come over to the United States and say, are you an ally or are you something else? And when the question was asked, William, nobody wants to support Israel.
So Hezbollah has a whole bunch of brand new fighter groups that are metastasizing and are firing rockets into Israel. And what Israel's saying is if we don't deal with this Palestinian problem now, we're going to have hijacked airplanes. We're going to get to relive the 70s and 80s again.
Well,
they're right. We will get to do that.
William, the thing, because the Squad is big time on Capitol Hill complaining about this, but Bridget, I can't remember her last name, but she came out saying, it's the Palestinian people really do like Israel because they've protected them to a certain point. But now Hezbollah and Hamas have moved in, and they're taking these launchers in the middle of a street of a residential area, knowing it would be a return fire to the spot. And I think this is where they're now starting to realize that, when that one piece of info I was making, that the fish is going to be the problem. If they get big enough and they can fight an alligator, they are going to be in a lot of deep trouble.
Yeah, well, we've seen this go back and forth in history. If Israel hadn't been there, the Palestinians would now be Egyptians or Syrians, right? So just because you get one group out of the way doesn't mean you're not going to end up with a worse situation. There's no guarantees in
there's no
struggle.
guarantees.
And Israel at least has been a stable group in that region where they've been able to make money.
And
we know that because the population of Gaza and West Bank have increased. Now, populations only increase when there's the wherewithal to be able to support the population. And where does that wherewithal came from? It's come from the success of the people of Israel being able to share with the Palestinians as far as employment, that they've been able to increase their population, just like Mexico has been able to increase its population because of the money that's flowed from the United States across the border.
Yeah.
Right? Anytime that happens, then the populations go up. But the other problem when populations go up is you have a dearth of young people compared to the old people, so you don't have the same stability as you have in the past, and so an outside group can come in and foment revolution, and that's exactly what's happening in the Palestinian territories and the Syrian territories that's being orchestrated by Israel. Right. I mean, not by Iran.
Yeah. Oh, well, and the mercenaries, and they're firing into the Gaza Strip. And, of course, Gaza's getting mad, but Gaza and the people like the Squad don't realize that there are terrorists that are in the midst of Gaza and that strip that's causing all the issues, because some of them they've ousted.
Even in those groups, even in the groups that are causing issues, there's only 10% of that group that are actually tied to the people that are causing the problem, that's Iran. Right. And so 90% of the people that think they're doing a good thing are being modulated or being moved by the rhetoric of a few, and are being played upon. They're being ideologically manipulated, and the very thing they're fighting for turns out to be the thing that's actually against their own people. But they're not going to be able to know that until they have gone through so much suffering that it becomes absolutely obvious to every single last person there. But those 10% that are involved right now, that are moving it all, they will have left by then.
Yeah.
Okay? They're not going to get hurt by this, because they're just going to be the leaders in the background. The people that are manipulated, they'll be the foot soldiers, and they'll be the one to pay the price. And that's the great thing about proxy wars, is your own people don't get hurt. You get other people to die for you.
Yeah. The other thing I want to get into really quick, since we're talking more, is this new movie about the first atomic bomb. What's it called?
Oppenheimer.
Right. And I looked at it, and people don't realize that when they were ready to set this off, it could have taken out. They knew if we do this, it could take out the world. Do we do it or not?
They didn't know at the time. They didn't have the science to be able to know at the time whether or not by setting off the first big chain reaction that the entire atmosphere wouldn't become part of the chain.
Yeah, and so our
atmosphere globally could have become part, and we would have become effectively one hydrogen bomb.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that. But at the time, there was enough going on, there was enough misery that it was worth the gamble. And that's how bad things get.
Well, see, the whole thing is no one ever realized that they were they were flipping a coin. That okay, if we set this off, we could just destroy the world, or do we take the
Well, destroy
chance?
themselves as well. The
Yeah,
people in the bunker that set that off,
yeah, it would have
um,
been the end of all of
they
us.
did, when they threw the switch, they were not just throwing the switch on that bomb. They knew they may be throwing the switch on themselves.
Hmm.
So it takes a great deal of pressure and fear to get to that point.
Yeah, and
And
the
that's
men
what
that
wars do.
had to make that choice, um, uh, it's the same way today with nuclears. Do we really push that button? And what is it going to do with the new? Because we don't, William, we have no clue what they have planned. Just like the world didn't know during this other bomb that it could destroy the planet. We don't really know that if they're going to fire something with a flip of the coin to end the Earth, the Earth
So
as we know
we've
it.
had we've had popular politicians all through history that are willing to take that chance. All right.
Yeah, but
We've had them in our lifetime that have had to be stopped,
yeah,
even here in the United States.
and
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm gonna. Um,
So we've had politicians that were willing to start a nuclear war to get what they wanted. It's if they believe that they can write it out in a bunker, don't they get their depopulation?
yep. Yeah, because see, that's something that's been
These aren't always the
mentioned
brightest people.
is depopulation. That I think even Camilla Harris mentioned that it might be worth it to depopulate than go into war.
Well, great. That makes her a fascist. That makes her the same
Yeah.
as we stopped with Hitler.
Yeah, and the thing with it is, um, I think what they're trying to do with her is prep her for presidency because of I think it's the 24th Amendment that it could take Biden out, and it would make her president. And you even mentioned Michelle. Now, when I've looked into it, it would actually lower him to vice president. But if she wanted to bring in, let's say, Obama, she could.
Well, the problem, they wouldn't bring in Obama because Kamala Harris couldn't win the next election. And they need to have somebody gain enough name recognition they could win the next election if there was a next election. And so they're not going to use somebody else like that when they could use somebody like
Durbin.
Well, I suppose, but that's popular enough with the American people to maintain their political power in the presidency. So they're going to do whatever they think they can do. And remember, it's not what we think if we're Republicans, it's what the Democrats think as Democrats.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what we think, right?
That's right.
It's how they think. And so we have to put ourselves in their shoes, with their minds, with their intentions, and then we can kind of get an idea of what they're going to do, but we're not going to get the full idea because we've never really walked in their shoes. It's like this whole thing with the Schwab guy over in Germany. They don't want to believe in God anymore. They have technocracy. They're going to have their, quote, scientific regime, which just means that they're going to call science the replacement for religion until they get in power, and then they're going to tell science what to believe and what not to believe, right? And so it has nothing to do with science either. It's just that's the way to angle their way to get what they want. So it's climate, and then it's science, and then it'll be some other thing, and then finally they'll have absolute power, and then they can wipe out whoever stands up to them. And that's the general function of dictators. Now, anytime you have a group that doesn't want to make an argument and go before the people and allow the people to decide, you have a dictatorial group.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that worldwide right now. And anybody that pushes back on that, all right, just says, whoa, fine over there, but not here. This group's going to try to destroy.
And
because
you know, William, we got to kind of look at our allies, what they think. And when we got people like, or a country like Saudi Arabia over just what's going on in Iraq, thinking that we snubbed them. Now,
so it doesn't matter what the people think, okay? It only matters what the royals think.
That's right.
In the United States, it matters what the people think because we have weapons and we can stand up. The rest of the world, that's not the case. So it's just what their royals think, the people at the heads of their government think. It doesn't matter what the people think in the rest of the world, just here.
Yeah. And, you know, we do have Saudi Arabia. Their latest is to tell Biden to just go away. And, you know, we have to look into, let's see if I can find this article, with Iran kicking out the embassy of, is it France?
It was Sweden in Iraq.
Okay.
The Iraqi religious group, probably tied to Iran because Iran has a lot of influence right there on the same border. So you have the historic, what's the name of the city in Iraq? I just forgot the name of the city. The Babylonians, okay, and then you had the Persians, right? So Babylonians came just before the Persians, and then Darius the Great from Persia came and saved the Jewish people out of Babylon, right? And then you have, in that area too, you had the Ottoman Empire. So all three of these empires, and the Syrian Empire and an Egyptian Empire, have all held sway at one time or another, and they all want their power back. Nobody's forgotten in 3,000 years. They're not going to forget. Wars never end. Wars never end.
No, they don't. The other thing would be, oh goodness. Yeah, Karen said something about depopulation, and that's what this is the next thing.
So you have a scientific elite right now, and they believe themselves to be a couple of things. First of all, they've inherited specific genes that make them superior to their neighbors because they're in charge and we're not.
Right.
The old age-old thing. People delude themselves. All right.
Right.
So that's one part. Then you have, through history, a belief that there's the Nephilim. So there was an additional genetic component that was bred in man, right? If you will, not just 2 strands of DNA, but 3 strands of DNA. So you've got the sword in the caduceus of medicine with the 2 snakes wrapped around, right? Well, that sword is not about being a doctor. It's about the angels coming to earth and impelling themselves into the human race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a group of people out there that believe themselves to be noble by birth because of they have an additional something that the rest of us don't have, all right? Which is absolute utter bullshit. Sorry. And the reason for that is they had no way to contain it within their families.
Yeah.
Of course, it got out everywhere. So if it does exist, we all have it.
And you
Right.
know, it's really there. That you know, what got me was I can't remember which country it was that's going to cut down trees to put in the wind generators, and we need the trees, and they're willing to cut down trees. And to me that's part of depopulation.
Sure it is. You can't get rid of carbon without getting rid of all the carbon-based life forms.
Mm-hmm. And here,
You
know, they used to put us off to save the trees.
They're a carbon-based life form, but
right.
They think they have the power and the capacity to wiggle their way out of it while they're getting rid of us.
Right. And the thing is it used to be save the trees. It was big time with the redwoods when I was in California that they want, Republicans were horrible people because they want to cut the trees down. Now they're cutting the trees down for wind generators that they know don't work. So
I believe in protecting our environment, maintaining our environment with the best stewardship we can. I believe we're here to serve the other species of the earth. We've been given an extra endowment, right? So we should do everything we can to help those other species around us that we can through good practices, through thriftiness. You know, we should be like the old Boy Scout motto: be helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent, right? And if we do those things, then all the beings, including ourselves, do better. But there's always a group out there that thinks that they don't have their given or their what's a good term, that don't get their due because of their own internal beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And the fact is, the vast majority of Earth lives on what, $50 a month, $100 a month. Some places $20 a month. If you got $1 billion in the bank, you've been given your due, guys.
Yeah.
Just so you know,
so,
right? You're not living on $100 a month. Shut up.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Now, what about Russia's Wagner mercenaries? They're launching a joint training with Belarusian military near Poland. Now, I could see these mercenaries going up. Now, we were sending troops over in almost every single country that was on the border of Russia. And that was okay. Now, Russia is starting to put troops along the border. And now there's a big concern. This could be World War III. And me and you discussed this. We don't think there's going to be a bomb tossed. It's just more hot air, I believe.
Well, if you're Putin and you've got a Wagner problem, send them over to train your neighbors, get them out of your hair, right? Give them something to do so they're not causing problems, and also be productive. So that makes sense. Now, on Poland's looking at this and saying, hey, these are battle-hardened punks. We might have to do something about it. Who's had to deal with Wagner in the past and been successful? Oh, it was the Americans in Syria. when Wagner tried to take over the Conoco oil fields, and we wiped them out basically before they even got to the oil fields.
Yeah.
Well, so what do you think Poland wants suddenly? They want the U.S. Air Force right there, and they would like some special forces watching the border as well.
Did we? Now here's the question. And I thought about this the other night. I was going to call you on it, but then I had stuff come up. Does Germany or Poland think it's due to them to receive an area or a country like Ukraine because of the how they were treated? Because they're trying to rewrite history on this, and this Belarus thing is what brought this up.
So the German people have a pretty bad taste in their mouth because of what happened during the Second World War. They got mesmerized and hypnotized, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to the German people for the most part. Now, the aristocracy, right, and the controlling elite, that's a different deal. Their progeny, that's an entirely different deal. But the people in general don't want to relive having Europe turn to ashes. And if you think World War II was violent,
wait till they see this one.
What happened in World War II and what would happen now is on an order of difference between the difference of sticks and stones before machine guns.
My reporters that are over there in Ukraine, that's up close and personal, they say, it's a lot different when you're safe and safe in your own home, and you're, it's a world away to them. But when the people that live it are really having a real awakening and realizing this isn't what they want.
You can't put your eyes on the enemy.
No.
Everything's done remotely. You don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when it's going to come out of the air and take you.
Yeah.
That's how battlefields work now.
Yep.
There's no way you can just charge an enemy without being just sprayed away, turned to pink mist. That doesn't happen. Except for, you get a few probing attacks, but there's not going to be anything major happen. Because the second that happens, the Air Forces come in, the cluster bombs happen. It's just a meat grinder that's going on over there. It's just the will of people to throw their bodies into a bloodbath until somebody's willing to give up.
Yeah.
That's what's going on right now. And so one side thinks that they can wait out the other that are on the lines, and they will do that forever, okay? It's just the people who aren't near the killing zone have to just get unhypnotized from lack of opportunity or whatever to say finally, no, this is enough, guys. We're not going to supply you anymore. You're running out of things to kill yourself with. You're going to end up here bashing each other's heads in with bricks, if that's what you want to do. And then the thing will be over because, nobody can win.
Yeah, and Karen said, let's see, about our security home, and I guess
she's right. The power dynamics are is if they can weaken the United States, then Klaus Schwab and Z have more power, so they can push United States and push Russia out of the way. So in a way, we're pushing at the other group that is, for all respects and purposes, our frenemy against the Chinese. And the Russians can push back against the Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So we should be getting along with China if we understand our threats.
But we can't get along with China to the point of
people have been placed in office who don't care about what happens to the United States. They only care about what happens in either China. or in Europe.
Now, they put forth a bill resolution to stop like Pelosi with their insider trading. Now, what gets me is China, and I think this is where the Biden family or Joe Biden has been compromised, is that we put so much into it, and even Yellen said, we need to keep doing business with China. Let's not cut China out. It's like, wait a minute, you're talking, it would be different if it was China in the moderate form, but we're dealing with the CCP, and she wants us to, like she did, she bowed and she bowed and she bowed, and she just made a fool of herself because we don't bow to China. That's actually a Japanese custom, not China, and I wish they would have stopped her because when you bow to China, it's like saying that the way I heard it from my guy from Taiwan, when she was bowing, 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 it was saying, we're sorry, we'll do what you say, Jinping. And then you see the lady up there, no, don't do that.
Her group would. Her group would, yeah. And there's a reason for that.
Right.
So,
and
you know what a short sell is, right?
The thing with it, William, is we want this country, this administration wants to keep doing business with China, and it's over AI, it's over the goods, it's over trade, it's over there's so much that we deal with China over just the trading industry.
So in the last 40 years, $100 trillion has been taken out of the U.S. economy by naked short selling, meaning that things were sold that never existed. So you have one car. Let's say if there was one car manufactured and it was sold to
the cars is another
families,
one,
right? And then at the end, 799 found out they actually didn't have a car. So that's been going on in the United States for the last 40 years. Well, you think that people that have been doing this don't want to go to China and do the same thing, and that they won't want to do that at all costs?
Well,
they've been able to be so successful for the last 40 years, and they know no other way to exist at this point.
Yeah, and what got me was now I'm not real, over the last, let's say 40, 50 years, I always was under the impression everything that we did electronically was Taiwan or Japan. And then you didn't learn until real close to the Obama administration that, we always see made in China, and we always said it was cheap shit. And now we're finding out, wait a minute, really it wasn't Japan, it was China that had all these, had the exports like Costco. I don't know. When you look at
China and Japan had nothing to do with it. The dangerous people were right next to us. They're the ones that made that happen.
Yeah,
was our neighbor.
That's right.
It was the people down the street in many times. So,
and the more we did with them,
our blame on people who have just done an excellent work of creating a product. The product that was sold to us erroneously, right, was sold to us by our neighbors.
Yeah, and
that was the immorality that happened.
But all we did was feed the monster when, like with the Clintons with Chinagate, where they sold secrets to China with our nuclear, and then they said, well, we really don't have everything we need, and they're like, well, let's help you out. Well, that's the same thing we just did with Iran.
So we created a monster, but we have already had monsters at home that created that monster.
That's it.
We have to quit looking around the world and saying these are the people that caused this thing to happen. No. The people that caused these things to happen were the ideology here at home that would allow that thing to happen. And until we deal with that, none of the other arguments will work.
That's
We
right.
can send our fighting forces anywhere in the world and defeat any group, and we will be back in the exact same place because we haven't dealt with, like,
They haven't dealt with
says,
nothing.
core reason, right? The core reason.
You know, the thing is, the other, I was listening just briefly, I was flipping through videos, and I just for a second, I caught the town hall with uh, Hannity and Trump. And he said, you got to have the right people in the right places doing a job they know how to do to be able to make a country. And he's right. And we have had the wrong people in the wrong positions and areas that should be very important to our national security for 40, 50 years. And you know, and it's not right that you know, a president comes in, he says, like, look at Buttigieg and look at the lady, man, lady, whatever it is, that's making military choices, or the guy that stole the luggage, women's clothing. What the hell? I mean, pardon my French, but you got to look at that and say, who is coming up with this crap? To run our country. We should, you know, we should take our national security serious. This is like a clown show. I mean, did we hand over our national security to the clown in the drain? You know, it.
So the multinationals can go anywhere in the world, right? We're the ones that are stuck at home.
Yeah.
So for them, they don't have to worry about national security.
That's right.
They've already got the visa, right? They've already got the jet. They already own the fuel.
Mm-hmm.
They're gone.
Yeah.
They don't have to deal with it. We have to deal with it.
That's right.
It's not them. They
right.
don't have a
well, they're sitting up there, what do they call it, in the ivory towers, and they're making decisions for people that they have no clue of what we have to go through on Earth while they're in their ivory towers.
Well, so most of the people at the universities are poor and dumb like we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a job, right? We all have to have a job. But there's a class of people whom none of that matters because they're not anchored.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't be anchored. And unless we get those folks under control, then we're going to be
leaving our decisions.
Now, we got rid of Glass-Steagall.
Yeah.
So the banks couldn't become any business and every business they wanted to be and still be a bank at the same time while being an insurance company. So damn, that's going to happen, right? Because we're giving the people with all the money free reign to do whatever they want.
Mental monsters, right? Is what I'm starting to think they are.
We have to put Glass-Steagall back in. That's why Clinton's took it out because remember, Clinton was saying it's the economy stupid. Well, it is right. It's the economy stupid. It's both the economy stupid for him to stay in for 2 years, and it's also the economy stupid to get the one world government done at the same time. So he could say that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we have to rein in these super oligarchs. Now they say, well, if you don't have a big enough bank, you can't do a big enough investment. You can't compete on the world stage with everybody. Well, we don't have to. All right?
Right.
There's a group out there that says we have to be multinational. We have to engage with everybody. Yeah, to a point. Yeah. But we can also impose tariffs. There's no reason in the United States you should be taxed. The federal government used to run off from tariffs.
Yeah.
From trade abroad.
That's right.
Not from trade internally.
I don't think people know about tariffs, though. I think it is so gone.
That was the original taxing function.
Right. And they're trying to erase it so people don't realize that.
Well, yeah, instead of having the multinational trading groups get taxed because they do deals with entities outside of the country, all right, so they don't get monopoly powers. You impose trade to keep them from being able to overrun their own government.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
That's what you have to do. But if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to be able to maintain your own nation's autonomy. And if you can't maintain your own nation's autonomy, you can't maintain your own nation's political will. And if you can't maintain your own nation's political will, all hell happens in the neighborhood.
And that's what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And until people get to this point where, gee, I can't move to another neighborhood, hopefully we get there before we get overrun from outside. Yeah. There's no guarantees.
That's right. We've seen country after country after country going through protests, going through wars, tiny wars, even mercenary wars, or the people against the people. And that's why we have the World War III report. William, did you want to add anything before we close?
I just want to say we're not at World War III. Even if
no,
we
not yet.
Go to war directly with Russia, we're just at war with Russia, right? That's one country. That would just be a war. It's when you have wars popping up everywhere that you have to get involved in, then it's a world war. So even though war is on the horizon, okay, and I said for all intents and purposes, we're at war now. Yeah, we are at war. It doesn't mean we're at world war.
Right.
Okay, so those are different things. So we have to keep in our heads, we have to keep things in perspective. We can't overgeneralize.
Yeah, and we're trying to keep us from going to World War III. We don't need, we had World War I, we had World War II, we had Nam. We don't, and we had Desert Storm. We don't need any more wars that the United States needs to get into. That we're losing the battle.
The war we had in Desert Storm stabilized the world.
Yeah.
Okay. When we went into Afghanistan, that stabilized the world. But everything else, not so much, except for that little thing we had in Kosovo.
Yeah. Well, wow, William, the hour went by quick, and I'm glad you joined me tonight, because it would have just been me and the news. And I called him up, and William was willing to come on tonight and do a World War III report. So tomorrow night will be trivia, and sorry about last night and the night before, but hopefully everything is good. So William, I do thank you. You're a great co-host.
Thanks for the opportunity, Elly.
You're the host. You're the hostess. Oh, no, I can't call you a hostess. Are you a host?
Oh, you can.
Hostier?
Okay.
Are you a hoster?
Yeah.
Hostess. It either sounds like a ding dong, a Twinkie, or a woman. So I'm going to call you a hoster.
Whatever.
A hoster with the moster. All right. So subscribe and hit the like button, the thumbs up, and thanks to Karen and Mary, our moderators, and of course William for putting up with me and my little jokes and add-ins. And I think we had a really good show tonight, folks. Share this. We got really deep into a lot of what's going on with our presidents and world leaders. So share. Anyway, William, thank you. And I know you're going to be back Monday, and maybe we'll be on track again. I'm going to just barricade myself in the studio and say, world, go away and leave me alone so I can do shows.
I think the girls are going to beat me up in trivia tomorrow.
Let's see. I'm thinking, I think Linda.
Where are the rest of you guys out there? You got to step up. I'm taking a beating here.
Yeah, where's DB lately? Or, my sister Beth plays, and she has a gentleman that does the trivia with her. I mean, I think he needs to step up and help you. Let's see. Lolly Ken. His name's Ken. Lolly and Ken watch with my sister. And I think Ken needs to step up. Yeah.
Because it's rough. It's rough out here alone, guys.
Yeah. So I'll have to let my sister know I mentioned Ken tonight, Lolly and Ken. And Lolly is from Georgia, not Georgia here in the States, over there in, Georgia from around Russia.
South of Russia, yeah.
And I get a lot of info from my sister on her. But, so we need Lolly and Ken to jump in there with my sister and play a little more and have Ken give his own answers to help you out. All right, folks. We thank you all very much, and we will see you all tomorrow night. Uh, whether you watch the weather and lifestyle news or you come in for trivia news. All right, William, thanks a lot. And we
All
will
right,
see you
bye.
tomorrow with your pen in hand. And I don't know, Susan might be peeking off your paper.
I can't spell no matter what,
Yeah.
but I'll give it a try.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful Thursday.